From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, May 15th. Still a chance for showers this morning, but we are drying out by the afternoon with a high of 72. Indianapolis police say they are looking for a male suspect in a double shooting outside a strip club. It happened just after 3 this morning at the Pony on Lafayette Road. Investigators say the suspect shot 2 women, one in the leg, the other was grazed. Police say both women are stable. Officers haven't given a description of the suspect or said what led up to the shooting. And police in Anderson are speaking with witnesses after a shooting wounded 6 young people. It happened just after 2 yesterday morning near West 16th Street and Madison Avenue. Police say a large crowd gathered and a fight broke out. Officers pushed through the crowd and found someone shot in the leg. Police say medics took that person to the hospital and that person is stable. They say 5 other victims checked themselves into local hospitals and have since been released. Police say the victims are between 14 and 21 years old. Police have not made any arrests. A sheriff's department weapon is missing in Boone County, stolen during a rash of car break-ins. The spree happened in Lebanon early Saturday morning. The sheriff's department's looking for 3 people caught on a security camera. Authorities say the thieves broke into the unmarked car of a sheriff's investigator and took a weapon. They're not giving specifics about it, but do say it's now entered into a national database indicating it's a gun. The sheriff's office asks anyone who recognizes the men to call dispatch. We do have their photos at wishtv.com. Just look for this story. And no one is hurt after a plane made an emergency landing in a field in Tippecanoe County. The sheriff's office says it happened just after 6 last night in Shadeland, a town just south of Lafayette. It's not clear what went wrong and forced the plane to land. The FAA is now investigating. In all Indiana politics, the state retirement system is banned from working with investors who engage in so-called ESG investing. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist sat down with the state treasurer to understand what the financial impact this will have.
So-called ESG investing ties investment decisions to environmental and social factors, among other issues. It's become a target of Republican lawmakers in a number of states, including here in Indiana. I asked the state treasurer if the new ESG ban ties the state retirement fund to fossil fuel companies, which might become less profitable over time.
Absolutely not. The focus should always be on return. And you're going to have some businesses that just by the nature of those businesses, they cease to be profitable. And so you're going to find those aren't going to be included. You're going to find some that are profitable and they are going to be included. So this doesn't keep any of that from happening. If solar is still a viable investment, we're going to invest in solar.
Is the government putting its thumb on the scales of the private market here by saying we're not going to invest if you do this and this?
That's a great question. The reality is the exact opposite. What has happened is you've had a lot of corporations and some particular folks with a particular political ideology. They have put their thumb on the scale. What this law does is it removes anybody's thumb from the scale and says we've got to focus simply on what is in the best financial interest of our pensioners.
All Indiana Politics airs every Sunday morning at 9:30 exclusively on Wish TV. At the State House, I'm Garrett Berquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
And there's little time to celebrate for the newest winner at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We are less than 2 weeks from the 500. Alex Palou is the track's newest winner, taking the GMR Grand Prix Saturday. It was a dominant performance. Palou led most of the race and had a 16-second lead at the end. Strong showing for Arrow McLaren with Pato O'Ward and Alexander Rossi also finishing on the podium and Felix Rosenquist 5th. Palou's victory means every race this season has had a different winner. The first practice for the Indy 500 is tomorrow. Crews are now converting the track to the legendary oval. A crew of 5 people with Petrie Excavating is behind the conversion. They all started working yesterday, removing fencing, track panels, resetting concrete walls and barriers off the front stretch. So far, the crew says that they've managed to convert the pit entrance into turn 4 of the oval. It's about 15 to 16 hours to complete the switch. Crews will also switch out all the signs from the Grand Prix to the 500. And tomorrow, fans get the chance to see track activity. All 34 IndyCar drivers will begin practicing at 9 in the morning, of course, weather permitting. IU softball team is headed to the NCAA College World Series. The team posted some video to their Twitter account last night showing the moment that the players learned they landed a number 2 seed in the Knoxville Regional. IU plays Louisville at 3 Friday afternoon. And today, a national chain opens its first Indiana location. Walk On Sports Bistro is on South Meridian Street, where Taps and Dolls used to be. The restaurant says the first 100 people in line will be entered in a drawing to win free food for a year. The doors open at 10 o'clock this morning. President Biden says he'll likely resume conversations with congressional leaders over the debt ceiling tomorrow. The meeting was originally scheduled for Friday, but was abruptly postponed. Administration and congressional officials say a meeting has not been finalized, but Biden told reporters he remains optimistic about a deal. U.S. officials say they're seeing fewer migrants arrive at the border than expected after the expiration of Title 42. According to the Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol made 6,300 arrests Friday and 4,200 Saturday. In the days leading up to the policy change, the average was 10,000. Authorities say they expect arrest numbers to rise again to between 12,000 and 14,000 a day. The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee formally requested a series of transcribed interviews from former and current State Department employees on Sunday. It's part of the Republican-led committee's probe into the Biden administration's handling of the U.S. departure from Afghanistan in 2021. During the withdrawal, a suicide bomber attacked the Kabul airport, killing 13 U.S. military members. This latest request comes as Representative Michael McCaul has threatened to hold Secretary of State Antony Blinken in contempt. McCaul says Blinken is refusing to comply with a subpoena as part of this investigation.
Well, it's not my choice. It's his. I mean, we have a legitimate subpoena. There's no executive privilege. A dissenting cable of 23 employees out of the embassy before Afghanistan fell, stating why they dissented to the administration's policy, is very relevant to congressional oversight.
McCaul says he wants all interviews arranged by May 22nd. The Memphis Grizzlies are suspending star Ja Morant from all team activities over a social media post over the weekend. It appears to show Morant holding a gun. It's a repeat of a similar situation in March, which led to an 8-game suspension for Morant. The Grizzlies are no longer in the playoffs, and there's no word yet how long Morant will have to stay away from the team. People in southern Texas are under a curfew after a deadly tornado. The damage is in Laguna Heights, near the southernmost tip of the state. The twister hit about 4 o'clock Saturday morning while many people were still sleeping. Officials say one man died in the storm and at least 10 other people are hurt. The community is already dealing with difficult days. It has one of the highest poverty rates in Texas. A massive teacher strike is a major step closer to ending. The teachers union and school district in Oakland, California, reached an agreement on major sticking points. The two sides say they are no longer split on 4 common good goals, but are still negotiating salaries and class sizes. The 3,000 teachers in the district went on strike more than a week ago. AAA says this Memorial Day could be one of the busiest for travel since the pandemic. The travel agency predicts 42.3 million Americans will fly or drive over the holiday weekend. That's a 7% increase from a year ago. It says the busiest times for road travel will be Friday and Monday afternoon. Travel experts predict 3.4 million people will fly. That's up 11% from last year. And new in the war in Ukraine, the United Kingdom and France are promising equipment and ammunition for Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in the UK right now. He met with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who said the country would give Ukraine hundreds more missiles and attack drones. French President Emmanuel Macron also said this weekend that his country will deliver dozens of armored vehicles and light battle tanks. Zelensky also met with the leaders of Germany and Italy. And Taylor Swift fans are buzzing about a moment during her Saturday show in Philadelphia. The superstar singer appeared to shout towards someone to leave a fan alone. Several people caught the exchange and posted it. It happened during her performance of Bad Blood. According to a report from Variety, Swift was talking to security workers, though it's not clear what led up to the interaction. Swift hasn't commented. One of the co-hosts of Jeopardy will not work this week. Mayim Bialik says it's to show support for the writer's strike. Ken Jennings is set to cover the shows instead, with questions written before the strike started. Members of the Writers Guild of America walked off the job earlier this month when their contract with the major studios expired. And to business headlines, Amazon has overhauled its logistics network to try to reduce how far packages have to travel in an attempt to speed deliveries. The Wall Street Journal reports the overhaul has cut delivery times and altered the search results customers see on its flagship e-commerce website. New Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino said in a tweet on Saturday that she's been inspired by owner Elon Musk's vision to create a brighter future and is excited to help to transform the social media platform. His selection of an advertising veteran signaled that digital ads would continue to be a core focus of the business, but some free speech advocates are worried how she'll run Twitter. American Airlines loosens rules for refunds when you're forced to fly to an alternate airport. American will actually provide a partial refund even within 300 miles as long as the passenger didn't fly to another airport in the same destination city. A shortage of Robusta beans is making it increasingly difficult to find a budget-friendly cup of coffee. Prices are up 20% from a year ago. While many coffee lovers prefer the high-quality Arabica beans sold in cafes, Robusta is normally less expensive because the tree is hardier and requires less care, making it easier to produce in large quantities. And finally, Alexa may soon be able to make up bedtime stories using AI and based on your children's toys. In one example described in the document, Alexa would be able to create a bedtime story about Mittens, the first cat to ever go to the moon, after an 8-year-old user asks for a story about a cat and a moon. Even more amazing, if the child plays with an interactive Olaf toy, the Amazon Echo Show, an Alexa device which comes with a camera, is able to recognize the toy and incorporate the Disney character into the story. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.